episode 52.
Here we are, 52 episodes in.
52. Let me tell you, that's unbelievable. It is cold outside, isn't it cold? Oh my God, last night was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But here I am in short sleeves.
Yeah.
Because I had my jacket on. I didn't want to wear my jacket sitting here.
It is
So
just
it's a little
miserable.
chilly, but it's not bad. So let's say what we're going to be going over.
Well, by the way, speaking of cold weather, that's why we're down here in the south doing the show today.
Down here in the south?
Yeah, we're on an island.
We are?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh.
Look out the window. Isn't that
Wow, look at that.
Isn't that beautiful? Nice and warm where we are.
You're having a lot of fun with that, aren't you?
Yeah. Anyway.
What
do we got tonight?
Well, let's start off with three things mainly where we're going to be going. But the one thing is Lando Norris wins the 2025 F1 Formula Championship, Drivers' Championship. He won that. We're going to talk about that. Some key highlights in that, and then we're also going to talk about the timeline of the double tap strike on the Venezuelan boats.
It's big.
This is ridiculous
double
how
tap.
the left is like losing their shit over this.
I know.
I mean, it's like crazy.
But we'll go over some timelines I found out about.
Yeah. And then we're going to talk about how the peace talks are stalled because of Putin, and we hope that they. Maybe in 2026 they'll get back on track, but
I hope so.
Putin, I mean, if you look at Bill O'Reilly's book, Confronting Evil, he's right on the front cover, Putin, and Bill O'Reilly talks about him how bad the guy is. From what he's doing here is nothing. The things that he's done in his life are absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about, and anything else that comes up. I was just reading here: Trump administration revokes record 85,000 visas in a sweeping immigration crackdown targeting safety threats. You believe that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we'll get more into that because I want to talk about where's the safety for us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, Lando Norris won by 2 points.
By 423 to 421 over Verstappen.
This is the moment that McLaren dreamed of. Lando Norris wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. McLaren are world champions of 2024. They win the Constructors' title for the first time since 1998.
So I was pretty proud of this kid, and then I hear some pictures of him with his mother and his girlfriend, and it was just such a great moment.
It was a great moment.
Win
it
that.
Really was. And I loved before you play the clip, I loved that Verstappen came over to him and hugged him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. I really did.
Yeah.
Because there's a little bit of a feud between him and his driver, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like the old Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost rivalry way back in the late 80s.
And it's going to get more interesting next year. But anyway, congratulations, Lando, for winning the F1. That's the greatest driver in the world as far as they're concerned, But I also wanted to mention next year, 2026, that Formula One is adding an 11th team, 2 cars, Cadillac.
Wow.
And they're changing the cars around. They're going to be 50% electric. Now, they're hybrid cars. They are now, and they're going to be hybrid there.
Right.
But there's going to be some interesting driving skills now because they got to keep the battery more charged because there's more of the battery. At this point, right now, I think it's 70-30 on the battery side. But the battery is what gives them that, electric cars.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah.
So the battery is what gives them the boost, but they got to keep the power up in the battery. And to do that, they got to brake at a certain time. Right.
Just like on a regular passenger car,
Yeah.
the batteries get recharged on braking.
Wow.
Yeah.
So next year, it's going to be 50-50. And it's going to be interesting to see. And the other thing they're getting rid of, if anybody is out there familiar with Formula One, there's a flap in the back wing that opens up. It's called drag reduction system. And when you're within 1 minute of another car, 1 second, of another car, you're allowed to open these flaps to help passing. It was designed to make it more competitive, basically.
Correct, yeah.
But they're getting rid of that.
Why is that?
They're new rules.
No rules. If you want to know what that is, if you watch the movie F1 with Brad Pitt, you see him when he's driving. You
can see it
pops up.
Yeah,
it pops up. Yep.
So I think what they're trying to do is put more input from the driver, with this battery mix kind of thing, and no wing opening. You got to have a clear shot. You got to use the slipstream, and So
What's that?
I don't
What's
know.
that called again? That flap?
DRS, drag reduction system,
Oh,
and it reduces the drag on a car
sure.
and allows him to pass. So it was, like I said, it was designed years ago to make it a little bit more competitive. But I guess they're finding out that they're really trying to put more of the driver in charge. So between having to brake at the right time and charge these batteries and not have that DRS system, we're going to see. Formula One needs more competition. We need more than just Verstappen winning all the time.
Well, that I used to say that back in the late '80s with Senna. Senna
Yeah,
was winning
Senna win everything.
every race he was winning, and yeah,
So getting back to Cadillac, which is an American company, which is going to be very interesting, but they're using Ferrari engines for this first year.
well, that's the now here. Maybe you can fill me in here. I mean, I used to really watch Formula One years ago, like I said, with Alain Prost and Senna and everything.
Right.
When Honda was really involved with it, um, Ferrari was involved back, but Ferrari never won. And it's supposed to be such a that's the
Well, I mean,
pinnacle.
they did. I mean, back in the day when you had
Yeah,
I'm
back,
trying to
way
think,
back.
Schumacher and those guys, were
Yeah.
in Ferrari. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Now, and what's weird, here's what I don't understand though, is Ferrari makes engines for other teams, then how come they're not all winning, like all the same? Like it's not
well,
the
the
same.
way
The
the
chassis
cars
are different.
are
Yeah.
set up and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's the 11th British. There it is, right there. 11th British F1 champion overall since Hamilton won it in 2020.
He's also the 12th youngest guy to win, too.
Yeah,
26 years old.
I know.
26.
Got the world by the cojones.
Oh my God. That's just amazing. Anyway, and McLaren, the manufacturer, they won the championship.
They won the
It
championship.
wasn't Red Bull. It was
And then Red Bull.
Yep.
Now, what engine is Red Bull using? Do you know what they use?
Yeah. So I think Red Bull uses Honda. Right.
Right.
All right. I was right.
You were right.
Cool. So anyway, watch Formula One. It's pretty interesting. Last race was at Abu Dhabi, which, by the way, is an incredibly gorgeous track. They start racing at 5 o'clock. It's in a desert, basically.
Yeah.
It's so hot, and they race under the lights, and the cars look so cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then they got the skid things
Yeah.
underneath, and
Yep.
sparks flying all over.
Yeah,
Very cool race.
it is.
Anyway, so congrats again, Lando Norris. By the way, you should see his girlfriend.
And now he won the championship, but the race was actually won by Max Verstappen.
Yeah,
He's the one who
yeah.
won the race. And Oscar Piastri,
Piastri, yeah.
he came in. I think he came in second, right? And then
Yes.
Norris came
Yeah,
in.
Norris, all he had to do
But that
was
put
get
him. That all he had to do was hit the
the
pole.
podium.
I mean, hit the podium,
Yep.
and he won the championship.
Yep. Pretty cool.
Yep.
So, this double tap strike, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not feeling really great. I'm kind of under the weather. You see this weather? I'm under it right now. So if you see some massive coughing or editing, that's why. But I gotta say before we dig into this is, I heard something on the news today too. Same thing about the immigrants and these illegal immigrants and things like that. How many times are we finding out that these stabbings on these trains and lighting people on fire are from illegal people that are in this country?
Right.
And somebody wrote on X, I don't even know who the guy was, that we need to protect these people and they shouldn't live in fear. And well, what about us?
I know.
What about us living in fear?
Well,
You
that's-
can't go home on a train.
Well, that's what Trump wants to get all these people out of here. He wants to try to clean up the cities. That's why he's sending the guard into all these cities, mainly blue cities, and trying to clean everything up. And everybody's,
Well,
resisting
and that's my thing. Why? Why would you push against
because
that?
they don't want Trump.
I know why. I know
That's
why.
all this
Asking
whole
the same
thing
thing.
is. They don't want Trump to win. That's what it is.
Well,
They
you got
want him-
3 years
they
of this
want him-
shit. Yeah.
They want him to look like an idiot, like he doesn't know what he's doing,
Yeah.
and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Now, this tour that he's going on, he's showing up in the Poconos. He's going to
Yeah,
talk
we
about
should've
the
been up there.
economy because his numbers with the economy is horrible.
Well, I got kind of mixed feelings about that because when you look at Biden's term, inflation went up 20%. That's an average of 5% per year that he was in office. Trump's inflation rate is 2% in 1 year. So he slowed the inflation rate, agreed that prices have not come down. I mean, gas has come down a little bit, but not much.
Oh, let me tell you,
Supposed to.
Jersey is coming. I seen today 275,
Yeah.
278.
Well, the problem is taxes. That's why California is still $4.
I heard it's even more out there.
Well, PA, we tax our gas pretty heavy.
Oh, I know
So-
we do.
So that's why Jersey's lower. Remember, we used to drive over the border.
Yeah, oh, I do still do. Every time I get my gas, the minute I go over the border, I
Yeah,
get it.
Get it there. Yeah.
But he's talking, and if he's right, and I'm pretty sure he is, because he comes to be right on a lot of things. Come springtime or summertime, the gas should be, they're saying, could be down to 220,
Wow.
225, $2 in certain states.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that would be something. Now, they're expecting tomorrow, the Fed, I think, is going to drop, the Fed, I think, is going to drop the interest rate a quarter.
Oh, I forgot about that. It's coming up tomorrow.
That's coming up tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. Now, when is this guy out of the term? The guy that runs it, that Trump hates.
Yeah. Well, he hates Trump too. So
So I know.
I don't know.
But he
next
was
year. I
appointed
think
by
at the end
Trump
of the
back
year.
in this first.
Well, he developed
term.
this. It's like a flu. They developed this sickness.
Yeah.
And-
But I think he's up the end of this year,
okay.
and they got to. I guess I don't know how they pick a new one. I'm not sure how that happens.
I don't either.
But yeah, they're expecting tomorrow to drop a quarter point.
Good.
Uh,
I wish we'd go a half.
yeah, that's what it should do. Yeah.
So yeah, this double tap. I didn't mean to get off the subject here.
Right.
That's what everybody's calling it, the double tap strike. So here's what you don't hear. I got a timeline here. 300 hours, just military time. That was the initial.
Gomer Pyle here.
Yeah, Gomer Pyle. The initial strike was executed September 2nd at 0300 hours. And boom. Now, what people don't tell you in almost any of the news, I mean, Fox mentioned this, but nobody else did. It was over an hour later they did a second strike because they're in a situation room. They have drones looking at this boat. There's two guys on there trying to load the stuff back in and trying to get help that they're in the middle, they got hit.
Right.
So it required a second strike. Now, there's a lawyer standing there the whole time
A military lawyer.
military
a
lawyer.
JAG, they call him.
Yeah.
JAG.
to make sure that this is legal, what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it called for a second strike. So that's it. They didn't go boom. Oh, there's two guys fishing. Boom.
Yeah.
They didn't hit him again. I mean, until an hour later, until they were sure that it was. Remember the speeches we gave a couple of episodes ago? Oh, illegal orders. You can disobey illegal orders.
Right. Yeah, isn't that strange that this is all coming up
Yeah.
after they came out with that whole
Yeah.
speech?
Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah.
And Kelly's actually backing out a little bit. Oh, we need more evidence. Oh,
Right.
all of a sudden now?
Yeah.
So there was over an hour before they hit a second strike. Now, people were saying, "Oh, they're waving for help." No, they're not. Look, I said this at dinner. And it's the same thing with trying to get the illegal immigrants, the bad ones, out of the country. Why, if you have children, if you got family, who's against not letting those drugs come into our country?
Right.
Who in their right mind is all I'm saying.
Right.
And I think if you really look at the real polls or some polls, people are saying, good for them. Because if you look on X, right, somebody writes something like, oh, they shouldn't be doing this. Every single response is, what are you talking about?
Right.
We should be bombing these people. Why do we want that poison in our country?
Yeah.
So it is amazing how bad that stuff gets.
Yeah.
But so that's the double strike story. It was an hour apart. They had a military lawyer, and they said, we can do it.
What do they really use fentanyl for? Is it actually used for certain things other than people dying?
Yeah, other than
Is
killing
there-
people.
Yeah. I mean, I heard that there's some drugs that have it. I mean, legal drugs.
Yeah, I think so.
That
I
has to
don't
be
know.
it has to be mixed in with things. But I'm not really sure what I never even heard of it until this whole thing started. I don't know, 6-7 years ago when they were talking about fentanyls coming up. What the heck is that? I don't know. I just remember cocaine and marijuana was coming over the border, and now it's fentanyl.
Well, it's almost like it's like a pain reliever. Of some
Oh,
kind.
is that what it is? Oh, they
But when
say
you have
just a little bit,
yeah,
it'll kill somebody.
yeah.
Wow.
Because when they mix it into regular drugs, if they do, there's such minute pieces in there that's nothing.
Yeah, I just don't understand the left. So why wouldn't you want this? You're stopping drugs coming in. They're saying, oh, they could be fishing boats. How could they be fishing boats? They're doing 100 miles an hour on the ocean. They got 50 outboard engines on the back.
Here, let me show you.
Exaggerating, but a lot of outboard engines.
Yeah.
And they're doing, and just.
Well, here, let me show you this fishing boat. This guy is throwing, what do they call them? Crab traps. He's throwing crab tracks into the water. Watch this. Tell me if they're crab tracks. See, so we're crab traps. Really? They're giant blocks of cocaine.
Blocks, yeah.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, and then so I got another picture here. I'll just put it up real quick. Somebody made this picture. This is a made one. I didn't make it. It says CNN at the top, and there's two pictures side by side. Well, I'll put it up here. The one side is a fishing boat, and you can see they're not a fishing boat, and the other side says white guy, the guy they arrested.
Yeah.
For the pipe bombs?
For the pipe bombs.
Yeah, that's
right.
CNN.
Oh, that's
White
CNN,
guy
right?
and-
The white guy.
Yeah. Doesn't look white to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was pretty funny. So, all kidding aside, you don't want this shit in our country. And, people who do, I don't know what kind of brains you got, but.
Hey, before we go to the next story.
Yeah.
What happened to the Epstein files? What happened? I figured they let him out and Trump would be led to jail now. Well, I mean, what did they? That's all they talked about.
Well, another thing that didn't work.
Didn't work. That's another thing that they. Yeah.
They keep
I mean,
trying.
They do. It's unbelievable. I mean, they talked for a month about Epstein file. Now they release and they don't really hear anything.
I know.
That much anymore.
I know. I don't know if they're digging into it further or what. They're still looking at it, but yeah, it gets quiet after a while.
And that was done 20 years ago. He got
I know.
convicted. What are they bringing this up? Why didn't Biden bring this up? I don't get it.
Well,
Just like the pipe bomb guy. Why didn't they bring up him during this whole thing after January 6th?
Yeah, 4 years they were at the 5 years.
Yeah, there's
They
something
never-
going on with
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Something's not right with that.
Of course. Biden didn't push the Epstein files because he knew there were a lot of Dems involved.
Yeah.
The same way they think Trump is
And
involved.
Trump said it. I don't think everybody wants this released because there's people on here that would really get hurt.
Yeah.
And why should we go through all that? And he said it 2 or 3 times, and right away, oh yeah, because he's involved. He's a pedophile. What was that, Jan Psaki?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pedophile. Oh, I didn't really mean that. We don't know that, but still. Come
Yeah,
on.
just to say it though, they put it out there, and people are listening to this stuff. It's the rhetoric all over again, And we were talking about Marjorie Greene,
Right.
how we kind of lost her because of the arguments with Trump or whatever. But now
About the Epstein files.
About
that
the
was
Epstein
the big,
files.
That was the big
she
argument.
pushed to
about
have it out,
Right.
and he has it out, and then she bails out.
Right.
But what really upset me was that Alina Habba stepped down.
But I also heard that she was going to be elevated in the Trump administration.
Well, maybe she's going to pick up a different job, but right now she stepped down for New Jersey's district.
Boy, he was upset with that, Trump.
I
It
know.
was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yep. So another Trump loss today, before we get into this next one. And I'm going to, I don't feel good, so I'm really pissy.
This is what I got to live
He's got to live with this shit every week.
with every week.
Every
Comes
week.
into the restaurant, and right away I see his face. I go, what's the matter? I'm pissed off.
Nothing. God damn it. Now another judge, where are they getting these judges? Blocks Trump's idea of stopping windmill construction.
Oh, I didn't know about this one.
It just happened
Really?
today.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I know-
Blocking Trump. Trump is trying to say these are a waste of money.
Right.
They don't make the money back on them. And if you think that's a lie, watch Landman.
Yeah.
If you want to hear what exactly is going on behind the scenes with oil and all stuff, watch Landman. I'm telling you. And they even said it. Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
Drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
Exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
But there's a scene, last year's episode, I think, near the second or last episode. this lawyer is talking about windmills, and they go to visit this windmill, and they describe what it takes to build this thing in cement alone just to get this thing erected, and the money spent in diesel fuel and all this.
Right. Well, that's just on land. What about in the ocean?
And the ocean's worse.
I don't know how far they go down, but
You got to go down to where there's
the bottom of the ocean.
yeah, pretty much. And then they were starting to find evidence that the was getting down into the water, and then these whales are getting lost.
Where are we going?
Where are we going? I hear this sound over here. And they're finding dead whales off the East Coast. Now, do you want to kill whales?
And then they want to call George Costanza because he's a
marine biologist.
Marine biologist.
Is that a titleist?
The sea was angry that day, my friend.
Tossed me over like a cork. I found myself on top of the big fish.
I said, "Easy, big fella."
Mammal. Oh yeah, mammal.
Mammal, right? Whatever.
I reached in,
Mammal.
pulled out the obstruction.
Was it a titleist?
Excellent show. Right.
Yeah, that's right. Mammal. Oh, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. The Seeger's angry that day. So the scary part now, the next topic here is the peace deal is falling apart.
Yeah.
Now, which brings me real quick to the award that they made for Trump, the soccer or peace award.
You mentioned that you think he just made this up.
Well, they did
No.
because he's a peace or.
I heard today that's wrong.
Well, it's the only one they ever gave out. So what did he
Maybe
win?
He deserved it. He's the king.
No, don't say that.
No, I was listening to Mark Simone this morning, and he was saying that there is an award for that, but Trump is really the only one that won it. I don't know.
I mean, they had the award and
They
never
had
gave it to anybody, and then
I
all of
don't
a sudden, really? Come on. Next, they'll be giving awards for fettuccine Alfredo.
Well, that was good today.
Yeah, I know.
That was good. I did not have that, honey. I had a salad.
That's right.
Soup.
And water.
And water.
So I get nervous here. Ukraine, by the way, again today said they're ready to go back to the table. They're ready.
Well, they got to
Russians.
give. Evidently, Putin wants more land than what they're willing to give up.
Yeah, I know. A lot more.
And I guess Trump, or the envoy that's going over there and talking, says you got to give up more. Do you want this to stop? You got to give up more.
So maybe Ukraine's going to do that.
I hope so.
Well, with the hopes that they're not going to come back and ask for more. I mean, I think that's the whole idea here.
Well, you don't know what's going to happen after Trump's term.
Oh, that's true.
The guy continue, Putin's still in, which he probably will be because he's always there.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they have the election, he automatically wins.
Yeah, well,
And
of course.
he'll
Yeah.
probably invade them again and said, "No, I want more now." Trump's out of there, and that's why you need somebody like Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance or Ron DeSantis to get in.
Yeah. Keep it going.
Keep it going is right.
But the other thing that's then we have, what else happened here? Ukraine. Oh, wasn't there something between?
Cambodia and Thailand.
Yeah.
They started fighting again.
Yeah,
Supposedly,
Thailand launched airstrikes in the
airstrike
Cambodian
and-
positions.
and
Yeah,
to
okay.
Cambodia. Yep.
So they're blaming each other, and then there was another thing with Gaza, wasn't there?
Well, Gaza,
Palestine and Israel.
evidently the Hamas, evidently they have one more body. I don't know if it's dead. I have no idea. But they want to stay a country, or they want to be awarded a country or something to show that they're, I forget the name. Don't
Yeah.
get old. But they want to be a country,
Right.
and they don't want to lay down their arms. Trump said you got to lay down your arms, and the fighting will stop. They don't want to do that now. So I just hope these things just don't fall apart.
I know, because he, and you still got to. Well, we would still give him credit because he did bring it together.
Oh, I know.
He got it to where at least where it is now.
Yep. Well, here's another thing that's going on with this scandal in Minnesota. It's unbelievable.
This is huge.
The fraud scandal in Minnesota escalated over the weekend as both U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bassett
Mm-hmm.
and Republican Ilhan Omar, can't stand her, publicly spoke out on Face the Nation.
Okay. Now, there's the money that got stolen is incredible. It was all COVID. All
Yeah.
COVID stolen money.
But
Taxpayers' money.
okay,
And
so
I can't tell you.
but this is what I want to know. They were our money. It wasn't just Minnesota's money. It was
Right.
federal money.
Right.
Taxes going, I guess, or whatever funds going to Minnesota, but they were taking it and sending it over to Somalia, to the country.
That's what I
They're
heard.
saying today. I heard there was like 67 people were arrested,
Yeah.
and out of this 67 or 70, and roughly 70 were indicted. They were found guilty.
Right. Well, indicted means they're going to court.
Oh,
When they're indicted to get to court, and then they have their process. But she's in trouble, I think.
oh yeah.
That's my opinion.
Well, so
I
is
think.
Tampon Tim.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Yeah, but the money, the amount of monies that was just taken away.
Yeah, I just over $1 billion.
Oh my gosh.
God. Now people got to be pissed off at that.
Right.
Don't they see what's going on
No,
here?
they're worried about double tapping some
Yeah,
boat.
right? Double tapping some boat,
Drugs.
and the new narrative today I was listening was on a lot of different stations is that Trump is slowing down. There's a problem with Trump. He's sick. He's not good. Oh, he's losing his ground. Blah blah blah.
Well,
I
he,
mean,
he is 78. I'd be doing the same thing.
79.
79.
It's going to be 80 in June. June 14th is his birthday.
The guy's got 20 years on me,
Oh.
and I don't even feel like getting up.
Tonight he's up in the Poconos.
Yeah, tonight's yeah. Yeah. So this is going to grow, and this is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I don't know. We're going to see who goes
But-
down on this one.
I mean, I understand there's people up there that are the population in that, I guess, in St. Paul or Minneapolis is a big Somalia. I mean,
There's 80.
Italians came to New York.
There's 80,000
Irish came
Somalians.
to Boston.
Right.
And supposedly, I was hearing today that years ago, Somalians came over, and they happened to go to St. Paul, Minnesota, and that's where anyone would come over. They would just go right there. That's how their population got built. I mean, grew. That's the way it happened with New York with the Italians
Yeah.
and Irish, and also in Boston with the Irish. You know.
But I don't remember
But-
a scandal like
No,
that.
there was no. Well, we had the mafia, but that wasn't a
That's
scandal.
not a
but
scandal.
no.
That was kept
Right.
everything in line.
Yeah,
You were able to walk the streets
that's right.
in New York. You know, it's
But don't people up there? Why do they keep voting these people in? I don't get it.
I don't know.
I just don't
Look,
get it.
we said it before. There's corruption throughout the whole thing. And it's getting worse and worse. And Trump is finding all this stuff, and it's getting worse.
Yeah,
and-
see, that's the big thing. He said he's going to expose the deep state.
Yeah, I know.
This is really deep state here.
Yeah.
This is real deep state.
So that's all we got this week. It's enough to drive you crazy.
Right.
But have a great day. Enjoy the cold weather. If you're in the Northeast, it's going to
It's
get
going
worse.
to be a little bit warmer now. I mean, yeah, last night was. When I went to work this morning. It was 14 degrees in Easton.
Well, what we should do is go out there and get a Mai Tai cocktail and sit outside at the beach here.
Hey, what is this? Oh, this you could put in. What is this Starlink? Tell me what this is. What is that really? Is it like an antenna that you got to put on your roof?
Yeah.
You have to. Well, what's the difference between that and having a satellite dish?
Because Starlink, the way, when you hear these launchers going up, he sent 27 Starlink satellites, 37, 20,
Right.
whatever. He's going to cover the entire Earth.
Oh, great.
Right, so he's got airspace, airspace, space, there's no air. To have these satellites going around the whole globe
Mhm.
constantly. So no matter where you are, you'll pick up satellite. Or
Well,
you'll pick
I'm
up internet.
mainly thinking for TV.
Oh, no, not TV. It's for internet only.
No, it's not. Yeah,
Yes, it is.
but it gets you your service for your TV.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
because
you're
with
streaming.
Apple TV, I get that.
Oh, God. Yeah.
You need Apple TV
So-
in your life.
No, I don't. I got enough apples in my life. So, yeah, he's launching all these satellites that are swarming the Earth. The idea is that people that don't have access to internet can get internet.
Yeah. you
Now
could
the
be-
speeds are not as fast as you can get on a hard line type thing, but they're up to 500 megabits now, which is pretty good. I mean, it's getting there. You buy the kit, Depending on the kit you buy, it's anywhere from $300 to $1,000. You got the antenna, you can put it on the roof.
Right. And that gives you internet.
That gives you internet, yeah.
Okay,
Goes
well,
to a
that's
router.
that's good for TV because you got all the TVs are smart TVs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as you got internet in the house. So, I said if I ever
All
built
right, come to my house tomorrow. Why don't you put one on the roof?
buy it, I'll put it up. It's expensive, though. It's not cheap.
Oh, it is. How much is it?
I don't know, but I know it's more than what I'm paying.
Uh,
So, until his
how about
goal...
Vios? Can we get Vios?
Fios? I don't know. No.
Uh,
We're stuck with our cable companies right now.
yeah, same with me.
So,
The Sound or used
the
to
sound. Yeah, it used to be RCN, yeah.
Yep. And then before that was Twin County. Guess what anniversary it is today? Guess what aired? Let me see the. Let me check the calculator here. 2025 minus 2024. No, 1865. 60 years ago. Guess what aired on TV?
No idea.
Charlie Brown's Christmas. You never watched it as a kid? Your grandkids are probably watching it. Da 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 da. Come on, it was great. And the album, the music, which I have it on my phone, Vince Veraldi, he did the jazz music for it, is in the Library of Congress. It was like one of the #1 albums of all time. But anyway,
How long ago was this?
60 years ago it aired.
Holy
Can
smokes.
you believe that? And yesterday was
Rudolph the Rain.
60 years for John Lennon. No. It was the death of John Lennon, December 8th. But he died later on. Died in 81, 80. I think he died.
Yeah.
Or
Wow,
81.
60
Might have been
years.
81.
All right, I'm gone. I'm Joe.
Yeah, take some Tylenol or something like that. Do something. Put your head, get the Vicks like your mom used to rub on your chest.
Yeah,
Doesn't that
all
feel
right.
good?
Chemicals.
Oh my God! Take the Q-tip.
No
My
wonder
mom
I'm
would take the
sick.
Q-tip, dip it in the, and shove it up my nose.
I know. Gross. Smell like that when you go to school.
I know.
Are you sick? All right, I'm Joe.
I'm Bill.
Good night.
Goodbye. Good night.
See you next week.